Hello and welcome to Wildlife Cam. A mixture of weavers and red-billed quelliers. It's mostly elephants we've had at the waterhole in the last few days. With a lot of rain around, all the other herbivores can get the water that they need from the grass or little pools of water lying around, but the elephants, they still like to splash around and have some fun. It's quite a large monitor lizard. It's a rock monitor, and they'll eat pretty much anything that moves, including deadly snakes like cobras. I don't know if they're immune to the venom or if they just have such thick skin the fangs can't penetrate. And there on the right hand side, the large tortoise walking off is a female, and you see a little one following her, and that's not a cute little baby, that's the male looking for love. Late on Christmas Day it started raining, and we had from drizzle to steady rain for about 3 days. About 80 millimeters in total, which was very good. and also because it was softer, steady rain, we didn't get a lot of runoff, so most of it has sunk into the soil. Good old reliable civet on his almost nightly route. There's some strange white rings around his feet, which is something I've never noticed before. I don't know if it's the mud or what it is. There's another one a little later on that has the same rings. The terrapin appeared again. Here it is, eyeing out a little tilapia. That fish is probably a bit big for him, but there are a lot of smaller ones for him to eat if he hangs around, which would save me the trouble of having to catch them and put them back into the waterhole. He's holding his tusk like that because he's become nervous. There's another elephant approaching and he's not sure how to deal with it. And he also has some very distinct white rings on his feet. It's almost like he's been putting on white toenail polish. Those are two honey badgers. You'll just have to trust me on that. You can tell by the way they run and the way their little tails curl up over the back. And the rear end of a Christmas leopard. There were 11 lions here. These are the two adult females that were leading, and they were on the hunt. And there were 8 smallish cubs and 1 medium-sized one which were lagging behind, and unfortunately the camera didn't pick them up because by the time they came past it was in its lag phase in between recordings. We were following them though, and we managed to pick them up a few hundred meters after they passed the trail camera. The females had already gone up ahead, and you can see the cubs were not too thrilled about their very long march in very cold, rainy, miserable conditions. As this little guy was walking towards the camera, I was sitting about 50 meters away waiting for them to leave so I could come and collect the footage. And when I found the camera, it had been flipped over 180 degrees, so it doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure out who the culprit was. As I got halfway down the hill, I found these elephants there, and it was a bit of a tricky situation because halfway down a fairly rocky slope you can't really reverse because there's a chance that you'll spin the wheels and frighten the elephants and possibly disappear off into the bush. So I just had to switch off and wait, but he was fairly relaxed. There were more problems later on with that female in the background. And there you can see the little elephant from the footage earlier heading towards the camera. After taking the camera off and starting to upload the footage to my computer, the female pitched up. I think she was the matriarch. And she wasn't very happy with me. She wasn't especially angry, but she was making it clear that she wasn't comfortable with my presence. Now, it's tempting in that sort of situation to want to start the engine and just drive off as quickly as you can, but that would be almost guaranteed to make her charge. And knowing that the road ahead was fairly windy and with a few sharp corners and some chicanes, that wouldn't have been very smart, so I just had to sit and wait it out. She then moved a little bit closer to me, and to complicate matters, the rest of her herd started to come closer, and that just made her a little bit more edgy. And it was this adolescent male that really added complications, because they have been a bit of a problem here in terms of hitting vehicles. Now, they don't do the same sort of damage as large angry elephants do. It's more just done to be mischievous. And they are quite easy to intimidate if there's no other elephants around. You can just start your engine and rev it and they go running off. But when you've got mom standing there glaring at you, you have to be very careful not to upset them. And he did seem to have an attitude problem. As these young males become older and more annoying, eventually the females get fed up with them and they'll chase them out of the herd, which is quite traumatic for the little guys, but they deserve it. And then what they have to do is find a herd of the older males to join, which tends to calm them down a little bit. She wasn't taking her eyes off of me. When he tucked his trunk up between his legs like that, I realized he wasn't happy, so I just switched the camera off and had a quiet word with him, and anyway, he seemed to relax a little bit. And eventually they moved off. Now, I'd already put the camera down, but that little elephant that had walked in front of the vehicle realized it had been cut off from the rest and got into a panic and ran past, and so of course the rest of them all immediately turned around and glared at me some more. But that was the end of it, and I had to turn around and go back the way I came because they were all in the road ahead of me. Thanks for watching.